Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. How many pictures is too many pictures? Today I'm actually working on memory planning for the first couple of weeks of August, and I have a ton of pictures. This is from 1 week, and this is from the second week. It was busy summer weeks with lots going on and lots of cute pictures taken. So I'm going to try to figure out how best to kind of get these pictures on these pages. And we're going to see how many we can actually fit through our memory planning. So I will put you guys on fast forward. The plan is to use these two kits from Simple Stories. We're going to use Boho Sunshine, so cute, and then also Good Stuff. I'm excited to dig into those. So I'll put you guys on fast forward. Let's go. For me, one of the joys of memory planning is actually that it really does adapt well to the times that you have a lot of photos. You are tending to print the photos smaller. I print mine 2x3. You can see little collages on a 4x6 piece of paper. And then you just have a lot more room to work them onto the page than you would in a more traditional scrapbooking spread. And of course, you always have the option to pare down your photos. You don't have to print and use every single photo that you take in a particular week. But I will admit there are some weeks where there is a lot going on. There's a lot of great pictures. There's things you want to document. And so I like to try to figure out ways to include as many photos as possible. And I think memory planning does a great job of allowing you the space to do that. Now, there are some solutions outside of what I'm going to do here. You can always add in an additional page. I say this all of the time, especially when you have kind of a special event like a birthday or maybe a kid's performance or a kid's game of some sort. You can add in, because of the disc punch system or the disc system, you can just pop in an additional page or a tip in to allow room for more photos. You can also just add tip-ins onto your actual page. So a tip-in is when you have an element of your page that's usually adhered by washi tape that moves, that kind of flips open, tips in, tips out of the page, and it gives you increased surface area where you can put all of your different photos. However, for my pages, my personal preference is to have all of the photos on the actual page, to not add extra pages when I can avoid it. And so that's what I'm going to try to do on these two pages. You can see that I started out by matting all of my photos. I like to do this especially when I know I'm going to be layering them. I just think it helps bring in some extra color. And then at the top of my page, I'm wanting to include these banners. I think this is such adorable paper. And so I'm just trimming it out, doing some hand trimming right here, some fussy cutting, trimming around these banner pieces because I thought it would be very cute to have this at the top of the page. So once I fussy cut out around that particular banner, I'm going to pull my Fiskars paper cutter. This one is fabulous. I will link it below. It's very heavy duty. I'm going to trim off these two sections, and then we will find a way to get them included on the top of the spread. Because I do have so many photos, I need to worry less about what is in the background. There's going to be plenty on these pages. I'm not going to be wanting, you might say, for filling up the white space. So I just want a couple of elements that are going to be a big impact on the page, and then I can just build the rest of the photos around those elements. So that's what I'm going to do with these banners. We're trimming it out so it fits in the boxes right here on this side, and then we'll do this side as well, and I'll try to figure out how these two can fit together. I'm lining them up and then just folding. I could probably measure just to be a little bit more precise, but I'm just going to fold those in half and trim it off and put these two to kind of line the pages. I think it kind of sets a celebratory feel. And this was a very busy week with a ton of fun summer activities, like all of the things, going to the amusement park, checking out a baseball game, swim lessons, just lots of fun things going on this particular week. Once the banner is down on the page, then I will start dealing with the photos because I tend to work from big to small. So I work with the biggest elements on the page, which for me generally includes the background elements like this piece right here or a large piece of scrapbook paper. Some sort of background element on the page tends to be the biggest. Photos tend to go next for me, and so that's what we're going to start playing with. And photo placement is probably the trickiest part when you are dealing with so many photos and you're wanting to include as many as possible onto the page. When you are working with this many different elements, it is a matter of figuring out how you can group them and how you can layer them together. I won't be able to have all of these on the page if they're all lined up vertically and next to each other and not overlapping in some way. It just won't, it physically won't fit on the page and still allow me room to do a little journaling. So I'm having to group them. So for instance, all of the pictures over on the left-hand side, those are all pictures of my kids and I running at the track. They're all from different days of the week, but I can group them and use that sidebar to my advantage. They're all kind of the same subject. I still wanted all of those photos because I think it tells the story that we spent a lot of time on the track that particular week. And I can just layer these pieces here and there to figure out how I can get them all on the page. And so that's what we're going to do. I kind of grouped them, kind of figured out where on the page all of these would occur. Once I'm okay with the placement, then I will start adhering them down with the Tombow adhesive. And you can see I make small adjustments here on the fly because I'm trying to make sure I don't cover up any important elements in the pictures that I had wanted to keep there. I want to make sure faces can be seen, important backgrounds if necessary, and figuring out what doesn't have to be seen. And that's just a matter of playing with and fidgeting through the photos to get the effect that you're going for. So I have all of the track pictures. I just printed 4 of the amusement park pictures. We have a couple of pictures of my daughter over here on the top right, and then we're gonna have baseball game pictures, and then the ones that are kind of towards the middle but on the right hand side of the spread, those are gonna just be some of the random pictures that happen throughout the week. And you can see I'm very careful to make sure we can still see faces, can still see all of the elements that I want to show on these pages, and figure out which ones are okay to cover up. Once all of those are on the page, now I'm going to play with stickers because I have what I call trapped white space, some awkward white spaces. I like very, very full memory planning spreads. And if there's weird sections of white space that are hard to write in, then I just adjust those or I fill them with paper pieces or stickers. Now you can notice that I did cover up my face in one of those pictures with the be happy. That's totally okay with me because my face is in a lot of those pictures. So I'm just going to trim out and start looking for those spots where I can fill in with a sticker. I'm considering at this point where the journaling is going to go. I'm looking for larger white spaces where I can add in journaling lines. So of course you see that chunk forming over on the left, and then there's a chunk over on the right. And otherwise, I'm trying to fill in some of the spaces, soften some of the edges, and include some of these elements that, to me, bring a lot of brightness and detail to the spread. This is one of the reasons I love these kits from Simple Stories. You get some gorgeous paper. I love the themes. It's really good quality, but I also really like these pages of cardstock stickers. They are great sizes to incorporate into my memory planning, and they give me lots of options for minimizing those kind of trapped white spaces. They usually come with a lot of word fetty, and it's all kind of in one package. So that makes it really easy to finish out some of the details on these spreads. Last but not least, I'm going to add some lines for journaling and journal about what happened that week. You can see I always try to group my journaling as much as possible in bigger chunks. Just makes it a little bit easier to put together. Once that's done, that wraps up this first memory planning page. This one probably had even more pictures than the one I'm about to do, but I think they all fit nicely. With my second page for today, I'm going to take kind of a different look at it. I'm going to use one of these cut apart sheets. The cut apart sheets are really intended almost for that pocket scrapbooking trend where you have the pre-done pockets that have 4x6 pockets and 3x4 pockets. And you can cut these sheets apart and use them in those. I love cut apart sheets in all kinds of crafting. I use them all over the place. I'm going to use a few of these to create a background or to kind of set the tone on the page. Instead of using one big piece of scrapbook paper, I'm going to use these different journaling cards for a way that I can kind of put my page together. They're going to set the tone in the background, and I'm also not going to mat my different photos. In this case, I just thought it might end up being too much because I wanted the cards to take more center stage than additional colors coming in from behind the photos, and I didn't want to take up too much space with the scrapbook paper. So we're just using the photos as is, and again, I'm figuring out how can I layer these, how can they fit together, and I decided to keep all of the ones on this particular spread vertical. They just lined up better that way. Sometimes I tilt them and have them a bit wonky. Sometimes they're vertical, and it just depends on how it's kind of appearing to me as I'm laying them on the page. And again, once I'm feeling good about the layout, then I'm just going to take some time to adhere everything down. I've sped this up a lot. I actually go pretty slowly, especially when I know I'm layering things, some in front, some behind. And I'm really careful about how I pick up the paper, where I move the photos to, so I don't lose my plan, if you will. So I kind of sketched out a plan with the actual pieces, and I want to make sure I'm following that as much as possible. So I'm taking things one by one, adding the adhesive, putting them back down on the page, and figuring out how they're going to best fit together. So last few on the page, and then I kind of go through the same process of going through the stickers and looking for that odd trapped white space. I really wanted to use this really big every day. I decided to move it up here so that it would take up less of the journaling room, because I really have a lot less room on this page. Those 3x4 cards take up a lot of space, but I still think they look really good. So I'm checking out some of the paper pieces, seeing what might fit here and there, and then I will take a look at the stickers to see what I can put on the page or what might soften some of the looks on the page. I love putting florals at the corner, and if I put florals on one side, I definitely want to have it on the other side, so I'm looking for a few places to include that. Love how those are coming out. Now I'm just going to adhere them all down to the page. I just want to take this second to remind you there are no rules to memory planning. You can memory plan with 1,000,000 pictures in a week, and you can memory plan with just 1 or 2 pictures in a week. And it can still be meaningful and impactful, and it still give you a spot to get down those stories onto paper, which I think is one of the biggest pluses of memory planning. Something that I've enjoyed is that it really has forced me to document that every day. And I think, especially in the stage of life that I am at with my kids doing 1,000,000 activities and flying all over the place, and it's kind of crazy, this makes me slow down and appreciate all of the blessings that I have in my life, and just those everyday stories that sometimes we forget to tell in the midst of documenting some of the special events in our lives. I have to admit, I found this spread a little bit more challenging than the last one as far as covering up some of the white spaces. I had a lot of tall, skinny white spaces that I wasn't super pumped about, and so it was challenging to figure out how I could place stickers there. No, they all don't pertain exactly to the particular photo that they're with, but they all go with the same color scheme, which goes a long way to bringing the spread together. Once I wrap up with the stickers, I'm going to add journaling lines and journaling, and this spread is going to be done slowly but surely. I am catching up on my memory planning, doing 2 weeks at a time each week, and I'm excited to get all caught up in current. If you like these videos, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button, and thank you so much for watching me today. I have linked the things that I used down in the description box below, so you can check those out if you are interested. I do want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon family, my Patreon members. It's just the most fabulous community over there. We have a great time, and if you want to find out more about Patreon, some of the extra perks that you can receive, you can always find a link for that in the description box below as well. All right, I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.